Hey guys, welcome back again. So in this video, let's see how to insert a single to-do and how to get a list of all to-dos that are inserted in our room database. So as you know that we have this button here which fires this function here, that is insert single to-do. So let's implement this functionality, that is to insert a single to-do. So here inside Android Studio, as you know that we cannot execute directly this transaction inside our database, that is we cannot execute this piece of code here to insert a to-do into our database because all the database transactions should be run on a background thread and not on the main UI thread. So let's implement that. So now to insert a single to-do, what we need to do, we need to create an async task that will make our transaction run on the background thread. And later on what I'm going to do, that I'm going to use threads instead of async task. So but for now, to insert a single task, let's create an async task here. So here at the bottom, let me create an async task here. So this would be class and it should be called insert async task, and this extends async task. And the first thing here, that is the first parameter, that is the param of the async task, and it would be a to do because we would like to pass in a single to do here. And secondly, the progress would be void, and thirdly, the result would be void again. And if you don't know how to create an async task, then you can watch my video that is linked above where you can find in detail explanation of async task, and that would be pretty helpful to you guys. So now let's open up brackets here, and now let's implement the default method, that is the do in background method, because that is the only necessary method you need to have inside your async task, like this. And this returns null, that is true because we are not returning anything from this background thread. And here what we would like to do, firstly we would like to get an instance of our to-do room database. So we can get an instance of our to-do room database like this, that is to-do room database dot get instance, and here we can simply pass in get application context, and then we can access our to-do DAO, that is the to-do data access object interface, like this. And now we can insert a to-do here, so we can simply call this method here, that is insert to-do, and this method let me insert it here first, and this takes in one parameter, that is the to-do itself. And you can get the single to-do by this thing here, that is from the to-dos, like this. And when we instantiate this async task class here, that is the insert async task here, we would pass in a single to-do that we want to have stored in our room database. And this insert to-do comes from this thing here, that is the to-do DAO interface. And here we have a method called insert to-do, and it has been annotated with insert, and it takes a single argument, and that is the to-do itself. So now let's go to our main activity again. And here inside this method here, that is the insert single to do, which gets fired when we click on this button here. So now what we would like to have here is that we want to create a single to do here. So let's create a new to do here. So to do equal to new to do. So this takes two parameters, that is the text of the to do and boolean, whether it is completed or not. So let's enter a string for this to do here. So let's say get me milk. So this is the text of the to do and whether it is completed or not. So let's make it false for now, like this. And now what you need to do, you need to call this async task here. So let's do that. So insert async task equal to new insert async task. And now we can execute this async task here. So insert async task dot execute. And here we can pass in the params, that is the to do itself, like this. And now let's run our application. And basically, as you know that we have not made any UI for this application, and all the stuff we are doing inside our room database, we'll be only logging it inside the console only. So let's open the emulator and let's click on this insert single to do. So now nothing happened here, but we know that our to do has been inserted in our room database. And now let me insert some more to dos to our database. And for this I have to rerun my application again and again to change the text of this to do. So let me do that very quickly. So now I have inserted two more to-dos inside our room database. So now let's get a list of all to-dos so that we can see that what all data is inside our room database. And now we have to implement this button here, that is get all to-dos, so that we can see that what all to-dos we have inserted in our database. And this button, that is get all to-dos, fires this function, that is get all to-dos, and inside this function we'll be implementing the get all functionality of our room database. And now to implement get all to dos, what we need to do, we need to go to our to do DAO where we need to create a method here, that is to get the list of all to dos. So let's create a method here, that is list of to do. and this method would be called get all to dos, like this. And now we need to annotate it with query because we would like to query to our database, like this. And inside this we would like to pass in a simple SQLite query here, and this would be a very simple query here, and that would be select all from table name. And here our table name is this table name, that is to do table. So let me copy it from here, and now let me paste it here, and now it will return us a list of all to dos. So let's see if it works. So let's go to our main activity, and now to get all to dos we won't be creating a async task here, but rather we'll be using new thread. So let's create a new thread, thread equal to new thread, and this would take in a runnable. So new runnable, like this. And now what we can do, we can simply start this thread by using thread.start, and this would make this thread run on a background thread. And you should watch that you should not do thread.run, because that will make the thread run on the UI thread. And if you want to know more about threads and runnables, then you can watch my video that is linked above, where I have explained in detail about the threads, the runnables and the handlers. But for now, let's go ahead with this, that is getting all to dos. And now what we would like to have here is that we would like to get all to dos. So simply what we can do, since our to do room database is a singleton, what we can do here, we can do something like this, that is a list of to dos, and this would be a to do list would be equal to do room database dot get instance, and the instance we can get from the get application context, like this. And then we can access the to do DAO, like this, and then we can simply call this get all to dos, like this. And now what we can do, we can simply log this to do list inside our console here. So let's log it here. So log d plus to do list dot to string, like this. And now let me quickly create this tag here at the very top of our main activity, and it would be simply log t, like this. And if you know more about logging, then you can watch my video again, that is linked above. So now let me run this application, and let me open my logcat here. And now let me click on this thing here, that is get all to dos. And here we see that we are getting a list of to dos, that is to do with the UID 1, and this UID is automatically generated. The first to do text is get me milk, and it's not completed. The second to do is with UID 2, the text is watch Iron Man. And now let me insert one more to do. So let's click on insert single to do, and now let me get a list of all to dos again. So let's click here, that is get all to dos. And now we see that here we have 3 to dos. One is with UID 1, second is UID 2, and the third one is this to do, that is with UID 3, that is make a video on Swift, and this has not been completed. So probably in the next video what we'll be seeing is that how can we delete a single to do, and then how can we update a single to do. So that's what we are going to do in the next video. So up till then, have a good time, and if you have liked the video, do hit the like button, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel, do subscribe to my channel. And if you want, you can support me on patreon.com. I'll provide the link in the description below. So thank you, bye bye, tata, take care and have a good day.